oh, I won't send you so many videos and photos. And I'm like, no, screw it. I'm
Oh,
sending
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah,
tomorrow. I'm going to the tennis, so look out, love.
oh, so
So
that
cool.
catch, was that an actual picture from this?
No, no.
No, was it AI?
I don't know. I think I bought a ball at the AO. Yeah.
Oh, did you just hold it up? Oh, I love it. I love it. What a catch.
What a catch.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Everyone thought
Sneaky.
it was sneaky, sneaky. Oh dear. Alrighty, so we are now recording, and so this will be out. This I will have this ready for you to listen to probably next Friday because I've got to go to the tennis tomorrow, and then I'll be working. And
Mhm.
so, are you right to go, Rach?
Mhm.
All right. So I'll just count you in, and then you can crack on. So in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year, and welcome to. Oh, I'm going to do that again. I'm shit at this. Right. Hello, guys, and Happy New Year. Oh, Jesus Christ. I hate starting. Right. Hi, guys. Hi. Hi, everybody, and Happy New Year, and welcome to another episode of the Killer Storyteller podcast with me, Rachel Lynch. It's great to have you with us for what is a very special episode today because we're talking about my brand new book, First Act, and this one matters. So before we dive in, let me bring in my Aussie partner in pod to the mic. Hiya, Christy Horn. How's Melbourne? How's the tennis? Now, first question, most important question of the day is: are you a Rafa or a Roger kind of woman?
Great questions, Rach. G'day, Rach, and hello, everyone. Coming to you from Melbourne today. It's so good to see you, and this is very exciting, and I'm pumped to be a part of this podcast today. But first up, congratulations to you, Rach, on the launch of First Act. It's really, really cool. Rach, I know you know that I love the tennis, and I am off to Melbourne Park tomorrow. But in answer to your question, can I have a foot in either camp? Because I absolutely love both. I love Rafa and I love Roger Federer, and I've been going to the AO since the early '80s when it was at Kooyong before it moved to Melbourne Park. But I've been lucky enough to see all of those guys. So I don't know. I can't tell you, but maybe Roger because he's here at the moment.
Oh, that's just greedy.
It is greedy, yeah.
Oh, I love both as well.
But yeah, absolutely love the tennis, and there will be lots of photos coming from the Australian Open tomorrow. But Rach,
Awesome.
this episode, this book, I feel like we need a moment before we even start.
I know it's a big one for so many reasons. Oh, yeah. So that's the paperback, and we're just showing the covers.
Yeah,
They're amazing, and so
yeah,
yeah, it's a big one for so many reasons because I mean, just cool cover, really cool
love
cover.
it.
But it's a new year. It's my first hardback. It's like, the story that started it all. It's not book 13, even though it is. It's not book 1, even though it is. It's
Mm.
just really special. And no, we're not talking about Dark Game again, though obviously I'd really love to. This is, way before them.
All right, insert some music here.
And setting the scene without any spoilers, obviously, because this is really hard with this episode, isn't it? Because
It is.
this is the first time that we've talked about a book that actually hasn't been released yet. So we're going to try so hard to avoid spoilers as always, and we'll just be talking about the themes, the characters, the vibes, why this book is so important, but without ruining anything for new readers. Established readers that are halfway through, readers that are just starting Dark Game, and yeah, so this is the first time we've talked about a book actual pre-release. And if you're reading along, this is your first Kelly Porter. Welcome. You've picked a good place to start. You've pre-ordered. But before we get into it, let's do a little bit of context. So, First Act is a prequel to the whole Kelly Porter series. We're rewinding to London 2008, long before Cumbria, long before the story gets going in the series, long before the Lakes, long before the Kelly Porter we all know and love, long before Dark Game. Kelly is 28. She's passed her detective exams. She's been grinding away at Bethnal Green CID. She just landed her dream job in one of the Met's major investigation teams in London, which in plain speak is the Murder Squad. It's the holy grail of crime in the capital, and it's been her ambition since she first qualified as a police constable.
Fantastic. Rach, before we jump into the book and start discussing it, can you please let us know where you were when you wrote this and how long did it take and why a prequel? Because I absolutely love that concept.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It just seems to have come together at the right time. And I think that's why I'm so excited about the covers, because, you know, when you've got a series, it becomes a brand, and you need to keep going with that theme in the covers, which I love too. But this one was like, oh, left field, we can do whatever we want.
Right. That must have been fun for you.
It was really fun. And when I saw the first proofs, it was like, oh my God, I love it. Just says so much, but it's so simple.
Yeah.
And those colours together, you know.
Yeah, they just fantastic, don't they?
Speaking to our 80s, isn't it? You know, cerise and red, never meant to be seen together, but what the hell?
Yeah, love it. Yeah, really great.
And it just seemed the right time to say something else about Kelly's backstory. So, you know, Kelly's character has resonated with so many readers, and crime readers are really loyal. I've said this before, especially police procedural series fans. They want to know as much about the main character and their life as possible. And I've been toying with the idea for quite a while. Funnily enough, so had my editor. So when I met her in London for one of our meetings, we talked about it. I can't remember even who mentioned it first. We were like, yeah, well, I've been thinking about that too. And the time just felt right. And I think that was back in 2024. And I had a lot going on. So, you know, I was juggling quite a few stories. And I think I delivered it about this time last year, actually, early 2025. So more or less a year ago. I don't think it took me a long time to write. And I think since I started working full time in the office that we've got in the garden, I'm in a much better, and we've talked about this on another pod, haven't we? I'm in a much better routine now than when I first started this gig, you know, 8 years ago. But I really wanted to share with you the story behind the story, because in my mind, the light went on. It all came together so quickly once I'd actually met a detective who worked in the Met in the early 2000s for coffee and cake. She was actually introduced to me by another copper, and she's called Frankie, and I acknowledge her in the book. She's absolutely lovely, and we just sat there for about 2 hours, and I just listened to her anecdotes, just absolutely hoovering up her recollections of details in 2008 in London, like what the office is like, what was the Met like then, what was the technology like, what were murder squads like. I was absolutely hooked, and it was fascinating because I know Bethnal Green really well because I used to live there when I was teaching in East London in the 90s, and she actually agreed that it'd be perfectly suited to the kind of story that I was thinking about. So that was the first light bulb moment. It was like, this is meant to be. And then we realised that back in 2008, London was gearing up for the 2012 Olympics. So that was the second light bulb. It was like, right, so that's going in the story. New mayor, Boris Johnson, that's going in the story. And it all started to come together. And there's lots of, I've just sent a hardback to Frankie.
Have you?
And I cannot wait to hear what she thinks. It's nerve-wracking. Like I mentioned this on the last pod. That I get just as nervous every single time, especially when you're dealing with stories that, and of course, it's completely confidential. I would never use somebody's personal stories. It's about the flavour. But she knows that I'm still using that sprinkle of flavour that she introduced me to. So I just want her to love it. So maybe next pod, she might have, read it, and I'll give you her feedback.
Oh, that would be fantastic, because she will be able to pick out those bits, absolutely 100 million % for sure. And she'll go, yep, that's right. The coffee, the dirty coffee cups, or whatever it is, or the dust, whatever. She'll be able to pick that out. Oh, that'll be fantastic. I'd love to hear. Get her on.
So, I am so sorry. I'm so curious, nervous, excited, all the emotions coming out over here. Tell me, give us your first act summary.
Okay, Rach. Well, I have to say, I'm feeling a little bit nervous here because this is a big deal. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here goes. First act is the story of how the woman born in Cumbria became a detective in London. It's summer 2008, and Kelly Porter is stepping into the biggest role of her career. MIT, the murder investigation team, trying to prove she belongs in a room full of experienced detectives, strong personalities, and unspoken politics. And let's say she doesn't get a gentle welcome. Work on what will become the Olympic Park uncovers human remains on a building site right on Kelly's old patch, and almost immediately things feel off. The case begins to link back to children's toys, a stolen Pinocchio puppet, a connection to the Museum of Childhood, and a sense that this isn't about murder, it's about the past, about abuse, and about people who were never protected when they should have been. Kelly Kelly teams up with a new partner, Seb Crook, navigates a tricky new boss in DCI Layla Lord, and finds herself caught between corruption, construction industry thuggery, and a legacy of horror that has been waiting a long time for revenge. It's dark, it's unsettling, and it shows us Kelly Porter at the very start, untested, underestimated, but already, but oh my God, I'll read that bit again. It's dark, it's unsettling, and it shows us Kelly Porter at the very start. Untested, underestimated, but already unmistakably her. And my official review is bloody awesome and 5 stars from me.
Oh, wow. I'm bloody over the moon, mate. Born in Cumbria, made in London. It's a great tagline, isn't it? Oh,
Oh,
Christy,
it's
that's
so good. It's so, so good. And we've been using that across our socials. I love that tagline.
yeah.
So
And
yeah,
I just love hearing that back because the book was just such a thrill to write because obviously it's new and fresh, um, but also familiar. But it was such a challenge in a way because I was going backwards instead of forwards. Um,
yes.
but what I'm thrilled about most is that she's still recognisably Kelly.
Absolutely. Yeah, she really, really was. And I have to admit, it felt so strange to read, but strange in the most possible way, Rach. So I'll be really honest because it was weird seeing Kelly as the new one, like the newbie. Because as
Yeah,
readers, we know how brilliant she becomes, and we know how straight she is, and we know how much integrity she has. So seeing her trying to find her feet, being doubted and trying to prove herself, that really took some adjusting. It was kind of like, hang on a minute, don't you know this is Kelly Porter?
yeah. She's on the back foot rather than kicking ass.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But and oh, I don't know, can you hear that magpie out the back?
Yeah, the magpies.
Yeah, it's the
Oh my
baby. It
god.
won't shut up. It wants its mum to feed it.
Christy's got magpies in
Yeah.
her garden, and they are adorable.
And
And
it's yeah, the
they have
sun's gone down and the magpies are there's a family of 5 that live in our backyard and there's a baby. It's absolutely adorable.
but they
Um,
love it. It's cooler
yeah,
this
yeah,
time.
it's been a hot day in Melbourne. So anyway, what I was saying, Rach, is but this is really important. Her core is already there with D.I. Kelly Porter or Kelly Porter. The way she handles Bradley Felcroft, the way she keeps her word, the way she commits to Seb as a partner, even when she knows he's not perfect. And that's Kelly right from the very start.
Oh, it's epic, and this is what this is what I set out to do, and I hope staunch Kelly fans agree with you. And I'm hoping that more crime fans will discover Kelly from first act and continue with the series too. And that she has taken on a life of her own, hasn't she? And that to me is it's just the best thing I can possibly hear, really.
Oh, good. I'm glad. But, Rach, can we talk about London for a second? Because London in 2008 is such a different beast, right?
Yeah. And that was, you know, how much I love to research. And oh God, I threw myself into
Did
this because
you? Yeah.
I I left London a bit before 2008 when I married Mike and we moved around the world with the army. So I wasn't in London for the gear up to the Olympics.
Ah,
We watched it from Argentina actually.
oh, right.
But when I was in London, it wasn't too far away from 2008, and so I really immersed myself in those memories, and it was so satisfying. But what it really did make me laugh. I mean, the tech alone, no smartphones, barely any mobiles. I mean, it was only wanker city boys who had them, and actually army officers because my husband had one.
I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't strap it to his belt though, which is I was quite relieved.
Did he have a pager as well? Was that
No, he
strapped to
didn't
the
have
belt?
he didn't have a pager. But when we were dating though, we did it over landline. I mean, that's how old we are. So, logging into evidence, and or putting evidence into homes like it's some, new shiny new miracle system, which of course it was.
Yeah.
It really was. It absolutely transformed policing. The stray wires hanging around the office that people trip over and spill their coffee all over another stray wire. The fire hazards, the dust on the huge ring binders, because it took them
The
quite
lever
a long
arch ones.
time. Yeah,
Those lever
exactly.
arch ring binders where you lift up the little handle.
Yeah, and then it'd rip through your paper because it was misaligned after about 3 minutes. And
When you close the binder and they close like that.
yeah, and then it traps your finger in it. Yeah.
Just like
And
that.
and actually this was a true story that Frankie told me, was all of the traffic cones and the traffic signs that were all shoved in the corner. Yeah. So there was just literally shit piled up everywhere. In these offices, and of course the computer screens were massive, weren't they? Can you remember
Yes.
that
Yeah.
they were like
Yeah.
as wide as they were deep,
Yeah.
gathering dust, and I mean such an absolute health hazard. So that was
Yeah.
so much fun. I needed to get all those little details in there. Like there's a fantastic little detail about now all coppers wear lanyards, even detectives. In those days, running around London, they often had their ID, which was a card, in their leather wallet that had to fit into a pocket, and they did have that impression in their jeans, in their back pocket, the impression of the wallet.
Yeah, right.
That's how criminals could tell them apart.
Oh,
So
of
that was
course.
a true story. But her legging it all over London was fun as well, on the tube. And I could just, I don't know if you can remember the first time we meet Kelly in this. She's got shit up her nose from the tube. That's such a
Yes.
very strong memory for me of working in London. At the end of the day, I had this skunk,
Yeah,
um,
right.
just from being on the London Underground, because obviously it's 1800s.
Yeah.
There's stuff that comes out of the tunnels. So just as a complete ad lib, Tilly, my daughter, went to Paris recently. She said, "Oh my god, the tube's beautiful, Mum." And I'm like, yeah, it is. London's such an old tube. It's
Right.
really, really dirty. Obviously the new lines aren't, but the old ones are.
Yeah,
And so
right.
I had to get that, little detail in there. But yeah,
Yeah.
the grind.
Yeah, that stood out to me, her catching the tube all around to not driving the car, but catching the tube around to all of the different, scenes within the book. That was really interesting. But you feel that grind reading the book, and it really contrasts with what we know is coming later on in the lakes, the space, it's the quiet, which brings me to something really emotional. So please get the tissues ready. Um, whilst I was reading First Act, I felt like something was missing, Rach. And get this, I miss Johnny. I miss Josie. I miss Ted. There is no Ted in First Act. And I really miss the lakes. I've never been there, but I feel like I've been there. And that's such a strange thing to say about a prequel, but it shows how deeply, in my opinion, as a reader, I am attached to Kelly's later life. But I cannot wait to hear what the audience thinks here. And please let us know once you've read First Act. And I bet you, Rachel Lynch, a Cartmel caramel, I am not alone here.
Brilliant.
Do you
Oh
get what
god.
I'm trying to say, Rach?
No, I do, and that it was really. I When you first told me that, it was really interesting because that completely passed me by because I was so immersed in London. But I think subconsciously, and this isn't really a spoiler, subconsciously, I think this is why I sent her back for the weekend. You know,
Mm.
when she goes back for that family party, and that was like a real sort of slowdown and a really important moment because we meet her family, um, obviously many years before we meet her family in the series, and it slows down, and she gets sucked back into this time warp, and then she goes back to London.
Yep.
But the harshness of the city, I think, lent itself to this story, um, and but I needed the insight into her future relationships because it was about reinforcing how much she'd earned that future and where her roots were. London hardened her
Yep.
necessarily because when we meet her in Dark Game, she's just come from London, hasn't she? And she's a bit spiky and she doesn't quite know where she fits. And I think this backstory is part of explaining that London shapes her in so many ways. So when she finally gets to Cumbria, it feels like survival, not escape. She's not escaping to the country like a lot of older officers do when they retire. Oh, let's take a job in Cumbria because that'll be
Yep.
nice.
Yep.
It wasn't that at all. She was really hanging on by her fingernails. So, this is why I'd like to write more prequels.
Yeah.
To explain that, and it's a real change of gear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's London compared to Cumbria. So I had fun with that. But yeah, I can't wait to see what people say about that as well.
Yeah, I absolutely love what you've just said there, and I totally understand. And once you read the book, like these little pieces of the puzzle jigsaws are kind of falling into place, but not everything. So that's where you've got me hooked, Rachel Lynch.
Brilliant. Love it.
Right, talk about changing gears, Rach. I need to talk to you about John Porter, Kelly's dad, for everybody that doesn't know, because that was very uncomfortable.
Good.
Mm. Seeing him, well, you're not seeing him, but in my mind,
Mm,
seeing him alive, knowing what we know, and hearing those put downs, you're not London material, that line hit really hard.
yeah, that's really interesting. That's emotional, isn't it?
Oh,
And
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
yeah, it really explains a lot behind her drive. The irony, obviously, is that he wasn't very good at encouragement. Underneath, I think, he was genuinely proud of her, but he didn't show that, did he? And
No.
it really verged, like you say, on the very, very uncomfortable and
Oh,
the
yeah,
shocking. They've got a very complex relationship. She loves him as her father, but he's cruel, and
yeah.
she's constantly trying to prove herself to him, isn't she?
Yeah, and that quote, "You're not London material," comes really early on in first act, like it's in page 6 and page 8. But then he has another piece of really nice advice, and it's don't be impatient, Kelly. So although he is very harsh on her, but that just stood out. It was really
Yeah.
hard to read.
But he helps her, doesn't he? When she goes back home for the weekend, and she goes for that long walk with
Yeah,
him. He guides her, doesn't he? So it is a complex relationship, and but I think secretly she always wants to say, "Screw you, I've done it," and
yeah,
that's another reason why I loved writing it because she gets to prove herself, doesn't she? That
yeah,
bit's really powerful because we know who she becomes. If you're new to the series and you're starting with first act, you don't. So it'd be really interesting to get feedback from readers who start with first act and then discover the Kelly series through first act.
yes,
That's coming
definitely.
from a
Yeah,
different perspective, isn't it?
yeah,
Um, and it is heartbreaking to discover how little support she has at that stage and age. Um, but I'm hoping that gives you an insight into that she is a bit of the family oddball, isn't she? She's got itchy feet. You can see why she wanted to leave, and you can
yeah.
also see now why a lot of people back home thought, she was a bit above her station. Oh, she thinks she's better than us. She's gone to the bright lights of the
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
Was that little explanation there as well?
Yeah. And then in Dark Game, when she comes back, there's also the flip side of that as well. Oh, London, it didn't work out for you in London. You're back home with tail between your legs.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. Finally, on this topic, there's no Matt in this book, and I thought he was going to be here. So I was really surprised when I read first act that Matt the Twat's not in it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I chose 2008 in the end, because I did put him in, but I took him out because there's quite a few more years left in London between 2008 and 2016 when she goes back in Dark
Right.
Game. So, because she's 36 when she goes back, so I set it a little bit earlier for when she first qualifies, because it felt natural, because it's a good start, because it's when she's just, she's a real newbie, but also it gives me space.
Yeah, right.
If I can, and if the publisher wants me to, I can actually put in some more prequels and get Matt in. And actually, if you remember in Dark Game, the case that Matt threw her under the bus over was actually the Corey Boulder case. That could be a whole book. So that'd be a nice one to do with Matt in it, because he'd play a pivotal role in that. But I couldn't have her forming a relationship with such a twat so early.
Yep. Yep, that totally makes sense, and it seems like there's like heaps of time there, and also we don't know enough about the Corey Boulder thing. We find out little bits of it. What was the last book that I read? Not Lost Cause. There's another piece of the jigsaw that kind of lands in that book.
Yeah, there was a little thing later on.
Yeah, interesting. Oh, that's exciting for us readers. So yeah, get onto that one, Rach.
Yeah. My fingers don't work fast enough.
Need a bigger whiteboard, more than post-it notes. So thanks so much for that clarification on Matt. That's good to know. Thanks for that clarification on Matt. What about some of the other characters in this book, like Molly and Cheryl, also known as Longstride, but Seb Crook? What a great introduction.
Yeah, I had fun with new characters, because obviously in the series we've got our regulars, haven't we? And I love developing them. Emma and Dan, and obviously the newbie Finn, which I think you met at the. Oh, I'm not sure if you're quite there yet, but there's a new detective that has come in the later books. And who has a role in number 12 and number 13, which is out in April. But going back and having brand new ones, I love Molly because I wanted her to live with somebody who is in the business, because that's what they tend to do.
Okay.
I did that as a teacher. I lived with nurses do it, firemen do it.
Yeah.
And that, living in the housing association, which is half government funded, I used to do that as a teacher. So firemen, nurses, teachers, medical staff, police, they can get cheaper accommodation in London. It's called housing association accommodation. It's actually really nice. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's a bit cheaper for government workers. And so I wanted her to live in one of those like I did. So my mind was on my old flat. So I visualised that. I did live there. I did live near Bow Wharf. I had fantastic memories from that period of my life. Really, really amazing area of London. Museum of Childhood was at the end of our road. So I loved creating Molly, and I loved bringing that forensic element into it. And so Molly being a Focko was really, really good fun. And then Cheryl with the short legs calling along stride. That's the other thing about, police and army and nurses. They have these silly names for each other, so I that just made
5 foot something.
You can imagine her legs working twice as hard as Orlando's when they're chasing him through the tube. And Seb, Seb came together slowly because he needed to be quite mysterious. But he's solid. And I could see him in the next one with her. That if I write another prequel, I can see him.
Oh, good. Layla?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. On the other hand, let's talk about Layla.
Oh,
Yeah, complicated,
yes.
and a bit disappointing as well in the end, isn't it? Because, again, without giving too much away, she's, it was difficult in 2008. I think, it's almost 20 years ago now. You probably, I'm sure the news has gone, worldwide, that, our Met is considered to have quite a lot of serious problems, with, misogyny and institutional racism and things like that. And it's a very long road, I think, to the Met recovering from that. I spoke to Frankie about this because obviously being a woman, and luckily she didn't really, see, witness a lot of this,
Okay.
and thankfully neither does Kelly. But Layla she's a senior woman in 2008 in the Met, so she's obviously cut from a tough cloth.
Yep.
So Kelly really wants to get on with her because it's quite, there's just the two of them. Women stick together, but we'll leave that there, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But I will just say the final scene in the theatre, it is chilling. Of course, no spoilers here, but absolutely, wow. Yeah. Um, At its heart, first act is about kids who weren't safe when they should have been. The charitable sisters, the damage done, and what happens when justice never comes. This isn't revenge for shock value, it's grief, it's rage, and it has consequences.
Yeah, there needed to be a solid story at the core. It
Yeah.
couldn't just it couldn't have just been Kelly with her first case. It needed to be a shocking case,
Mm.
and it was really important to me not just to have the gravity, but also to handle it with care. The balance needed to be just right, and I went back and forth with editors over that balance. Some thought there needed to be more of this and less of that. Some thought there needed to be more of this and less of that. And so I'm hoping that we struck the right balance in the end, because you need enough of the backstory to engage the reader's rage because of what happened, but you don't want to be too graphic,
Yeah.
because I was very mindful of that with
Okay.
the sensitivity of the topic, because it's not necessary, and actually in a way the toys did it for me,
Yeah.
using the puppets and the stories, um, so that was really really important,
Yeah.
having that core strong
Yeah.
case.
Um, are we allowed to say we're talking about Operation Daisy?
Yeah, yeah, completely
Yeah.
made up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what we're talking about here. If you're listening along, let's talk about the children's toys, Rach. The puppets and those gruesome murders. We've got Pinocchio, Tinkerbell, Charlie McCarthy doll, Punch and Judy dolls, but there's such a dark history on all of them.
Mm, yeah. Um, and like I said, I'd often go to the Museum of Childhood, down the road, because it was such a beautiful museum,
Right.
and it really stimulates your own memories, and hopefully I put little sprinkles of that, in the book, because we all know these characters. And actually, if you look into the history of them, that they've all got really, really dark
Yeah.
elements to them. Like Red Riding Hood, you know, and Pinocchio, and you know, even modern ones. When with modern children's movies, there's always a dark element behind, isn't it? Because actually that's the whole point, because you're playing on children's fears.
Yes. Yeah.
They need to easily identify the hero, and so you've got to have a real darkness. I mean, my daughter, she was never really scared of uh, I don't know. I suppose things that were shockingly violent or what we would consider shocking maybe as adults. We think, oh no, children would be really scared of that. Actually, what my daughter was most scared of was Snow White, the Queen. She
Oh,
couldn't
right.
watch that until she was much older, because it's that sinister,
Yeah.
dark story, behind there. And it just seemed a perfect setting. This is what I mean by everything, like came together. And that's the Museum of Childhood is where I got the idea for the puppets. And it's so much fun researching them. And it's really nostalgic because obviously we can all relate to them. If not all of them, at least one. They're so familiar, but
Yeah.
really mysterious at the same time, like fairy tales. They are really heroic, and full of nobility. But there's such a dark side. But what did you think of that cover? Did you think that the puppet on the cover, the marionette on the cover, that
Yeah.
really worked?
Yeah, and since, reading the book and knowing what you know once you've read it, it kind of makes, a little bit more. I'm just showing it up again. Makes even more sense because there's different types of puppets that we're talking about here. So that's really quite interesting. There must have been interesting doing the research on those different types of characters that you put in the toy puppets and deciding which ones to put in as well, because that they're kind of all different. Punch and Judy, I mean, and I learnt a lot reading the book too, because I didn't know the history of those children's toys.
I love that because
Mm,
years ago, my agent said to me when he was reading one of my books, and he was, he's really good. He always, does like a kind of editorial before I send it to the publisher. It's, one sign of a good agent is that they take that time and they do that. And early on, he said to me, readers like to learn something,
right.
and in crime, it's usually forensically, and like you say, the core of the story is these puppets. So, the fact that I had to research this part of the history of, like Jack and Jill,
Yeah,
that was just really interesting. And these dolls, they go for thousands, and they're
yeah.
all, some of them are made out of, ivory and,
Mm.
glass eyes. And it was that's the sort of detail that I get really nerdy over, that. Loved it. Loved doing all the research.
And I wonder if, our audience has picked up on the ringtone, The Entertainer. That's also pretty cool because you may have noticed that we've been using it on many of our social posts, the same music, The Entertainer. But it's important because once you read the book, you'll know why. So we're going to not stop there.
And it's also one of those that you can't get out of your head, isn't it? Because when
I
I was a
know.
kid,
Yeah.
that was actually on the ice cream van.
Oh, you didn't have green sleeves?
I think we did have green
Oh,
sleeves as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. But then as I was writing it, that would pop up, and that was it for the rest of the day. I'd have the
Yeah.
bloody entertainer in my head then. And I keep asking Marion to, Marion is a piano teacher.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, asking Marion to tinkle her ivories and get her to play the entertainer. I'm gonna have to do that.
Hey, I've just realised that, yes, we absolutely have to get that, get Marion to do that, but I've just realised I was so engrossed in the conversation, I've missed a whole section here. My response to what we're talking about the cover, but I think we've nailed it.
Yeah, don't think there's a worry there at all, is there?
Oh, what a classic. All right, Rach, now I'm gonna shoot you some first act rapid fire questions at you. Are you ready? These ones are a little bit different, but, are you ready?
Go for it.
All right. The best thing about writing this book now and not earlier?
A perspective. So I understood Kelly better after living with her for so long.
Okay. The character who surprised you the most?
Orlando. There was never a clear arc with him until the last few chapters, and it all came together. And then also, I'd probably say Seb as well. He grew more than I expected, and I can see him in further prequels as Kelly's partner.
Yeah, you said that before. I like that. The hardest part to write?
Going back to a version of Kelly who hadn't quite yet learned how strong she was, and the historical setting.
Yeah.
That I think that's always tough, is to do something that's set in the past, because it's the little details that catch you out. And as always, the balance between light and dark, and good and evil. which is really important to me.
Yeah, it is. One word to describe first act?
Foundational.
Yep, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in so many ways. Can I ask you some rapid fire as well, Christy?
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
yeah.
So, who is your favourite character and why?
Well, it absolutely has to be Kelly Porter. What an introduction to her character. And we see little bits of her shine through that come out in other books. She's brilliant. So I have to say Kelly. So, but also Seb Crook. He's complex and he doesn't give anything away, but I really loved the relationship that they create. And that was, it's really clever how it's written in the book. So no spoilers, but yeah, really cool.
Oh, I love that. I'm really chuffed with that. Um, did you enjoy the funky early 2000s music? The
Of course.
tunes?
Of course. I grew up in that era. Bananarama. I had the big hair to match. And we absolutely have to add some 80s killer tunes to our Killer Story playlist on Spotify, Rach.
Oh, I love doing that, going back and researching what was popular in the early 2000s. It's brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so her trip back to Cumbria. Um, oh,
Yeah.
hmm,
So,
what's the actual question here?
yeah, I kind of split them up, didn't I? They were
Oh,
numbered
okay.
three.
I think I remember what it was. Okay, so what did you think of her trip back to Cumbria? Was it important, and was that quite satisfying to go back to the lakes for you as a reader?
Yeah, it was. I liked how she went back, but it was with a really heavy heart that she went back. And then I was thinking about myself when I was that age and like having to go home and you just want to be hanging out with your friends or not being at home with family. So I felt like it was really necessary, but I could understand that she was reluctant to go back, particularly with the relationship that she had with her family. So I liked that she went back, and obviously, I
Yeah.
love where the storyline heads. Further down the track. So yeah, I
Hmm.
thought it was a really
So,
important thing.
so actually, that's my next question. Did it leave you wanting more prequels before she goes back to Cumbria, or were you ready to get back to the Lake District?
No, I personally think there are so many unanswered questions for me, and I demand another prequel and a puppy.
Awesome. Christmas is just gone and your birthday. Tough.
Yeah, no, I'm most definitely when we were just talking about that before, and you're talking about the time gap, and there's storylines that aren't answered yet. There's space for it if you if you can write it.
Yeah.
So I definitely think so. I think there's more to come.
Yeah.
Plus,
Plus,
there's that's at the beginning, but we're also got so much more at the other end as well. Where we're up to, you're up to book 13, Cruel Truth.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm writing 14 as well, which, oh
Are
my
you
God, I'm really,
really?
yeah, really enjoying. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
really
my
enjoying that.
god! Because
Yeah.
I've read book 12.
Ah, right.
I've
Yeah.
read
Then you
I've
went
read
back,
that
didn't
one.
you?
Yeah, then
Yeah.
I couldn't wait not to read book 12. Then I went back to the beginning. So yeah, I'm up to book 9 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, fantastic. And and,
So
and, you, and you haven't read any Helens yet, have you? Any Helen
no,
Scott?
not
And we
yet.
haven't
No,
talked about them yet, have we? Yeah, because
no.
I'm desperate to write Helen 3. So there's two.
Yes.
The Rift and the Line, and I've got number 3 already in my head. I just wish, and I think that in 20 years' time this is going to be possible. I can just, well, actually probably not 20 years less, but I could just plug my brain into my Mac and it could just write it for me in a day. That would be brilliant, because I've got Helen 3 to write, I've got Kelly 14 to write, or to finish. I'm halfway through.
Wow.
I've got other standalones, and I've got more prequels. So, I just cannot, honestly, I cannot go fast enough. I'm desperate to get them all out on the page, but just, it just takes time to push out 100,000 words. Sadly.
Unbelievable.
So, Christy, I think that wraps up this episode, doesn't it, of the Killer Storyteller podcast. Our first episode talking about a new release and my first hardback too.
Oh, that's so, so awesome, Rach. And if you're a long-time D.O. Kelly Porter reader, this book will reframe everything. And if you're new, this is where it all begins.
And first act is out now. Sorry, it's not out now. First act is out on the 29th of January, which is next Thursday. Actually, I'll start that again because by the time this goes out, that won't be relevant, will it? And first act is available on the 29th of January everywhere in hardback and ebook. And the paperback is actually out in September. And we can't wait to hear what you think.
Oh, fantastic. Massive congratulations, Rachel Lynch. First act is absolutely brilliant. I loved reading this book so much. In fact, I've read it twice. So well done, and enjoy all the book launchy and all the excitement and all the reviews around hearing what people have saying and reading. I've never been part of this type of thing before, so I've already seen people posting about it on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, which is just fantastic, but I can't wait to hear what people think. So you can listen to us on Spotify, watch the video on YouTube, bloopers, chaos, and all the rest of it, and come and hang out with us on Instagram and X. All right, Rach, Prequel is accomplished.
Thanks, Christy. It was fun taking Kelly back in time, and what great timing. A new year, a new book launch, Kelly where it all began, and new covers for the whole series too. We haven't even talked about that.
Oh, they're so beautiful, yeah. Hang on. What book are we discussing next, Rach?
I think it is Blood Rites, number 6, and it's a witchy, superstitious, pagan treat. It also opens with one of the most intriguing attractions in the Lake District, Castle Rig Stone Circle, which you'll see on the cover. So start reading, guys. Okay, see you, Christy.
All right, see you, Rach. Have fun, everyone, reading first act. Bye for now. Oh, I added that in there again. Whoops. You can catch us on Spotify.
You already said that, though, didn't you?
I already said it before. That's all good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really good.
Oh, fantastic. I'm just going to press stop so it does all its magic.